Thanks so much for tuning in to the virtual fold along series. This is the fourth video in this series. If you go to our website, mnbookarts.com, and there should be a section called virtual fold alongs, and you can see the 3 previous videos, as well as take a sneak peek at the future ones to come. That's also a good place to see all the materials and tools you'll need. Awesome. So my name is Madeline Garcia, and I'm the lead teaching artist at Minnesota Center for Book Arts, who's putting on these videos. I'm the lead teaching artist for all youth programs. So normally I am preparing all the materials for classes, helping to schedule them and do all the logistics along with some other staff, and then teaching a lot of those classes. It's a really special place. Unfortunately, it is closed right now, but on our website there are many more activities and things that you can do related to the center. We're going to be posting some more virtual stuff coming in the near future. So I'm here at home teaching because of the pandemic, and that's really important to me that I still stay connected with all of my book arts community. I want to inspire creativity, even if it's only for a little bit every Friday morning. So thanks for tuning in. This week's book is so awesome. I can get rid of this. It is a Petal Fold book. And not only is it sculptural, but it uses origami. So that is super special. So let's go ahead and start. To make this book, you will need 5 8.5 by 8.5 sheets of paper. This is just colored copy paper, and the reason that I've chosen this size paper for this book is that I want to make sure that everyone has this size paper on hand. You will also need 2 covers for your book, and these will be 4.5 by 4.5 inches. As far as supplies, you will definitely want to have a glue stick and a bone folder, which is a bookmaking tool used for folding and creasing and scoring. If you don't have one, you can use the side of a ruler, but this is an awesome tool and I definitely recommend everyone grabbing one. You'll also want to have a pencil on hand and then some scrap paper, some waste sheets. I like to use sheets of magazines or catalogs. Those work really well. Awesome. So I'll demonstrate and explain the steps of the book, and you can follow along. Feel free to pause the video if you need to catch up and ask any questions. The first thing we'll do is start by folding our petals. I do want to quickly talk about how to use a bone folder. You'll want to put your 4 fingers on one side and your thumb on the other side, like a comb, and then we'll use this thin edge here to crease the paper. Awesome. So the first thing we'll do, pretty simple, is fold one of our petals in half. And when we do that, we'll take extra care in making sure that our corners are resting right on top of each other. Feel free to take lots of time doing this. And I'm holding this in place, and then I'm going to slide my finger over and crease the book. This is our hold and fold technique. So I crease the fold, and then I'm going to come in with my bone folder, and I'm going to center it on this center fold and just go up and down about 2 times. This paper is pretty thin and brittle, so I won't want to do it more than that. Great, we know how to fold a piece of paper in half now. Once you have this, you're going to open it up and immediately fold it the other way in half. After both of these folds, your petal should be divided into quadrants. I'll slide my finger across and crease with that before I use my bone folder. Awesome. Now I'm going to open my petal up and set it up like a tent so that all folds are facing down. For some reason with this book, tents are a popular theme. I don't know why. Great, once we're here, we're going to take a corner and roll it across. We're going against the other folds that we've made and line it up with its diagonal corner. We'll do the same thing, creasing with our fingers and then coming back in with our bone folder. It'll look like this after, like a taco or a crepe or something, this shape. And then what we'll do is we'll just slightly open this up and set it up as a tent. This next step is the best part. It's so fun. I am going to press down in the center of the petal where all of the folds intersect and pop the book. Oops. These sides will pop up. I'm going to bring these two diagonal corners together. Oops. I'll have something that'll look like this, kind of like two cups. And then I'll just close these and bone fold them down. And we've successfully made one petal. I'll go ahead and walk you through it one more time. So we'll start by folding our petal in half. Creasing with our fingers and then using our bone folder. We'll open it up, rotate it 90 degrees and fold it in half the other way. Crease with our fingers and use our bone folder. We'll then open it up, set it up like a tent, and fold it diagonally. Creasing with our fingers, and then using our bone folder. We'll set it up like a tent again, and pop it. That is so fun. I'll bring these two corners together. I'll have something that looks like this, and then I will collapse it. It'll fold into a nice square here. Wonderful. So I have two petals here. I went ahead and pre-folded my other three for time's sake, but feel free to pause if you need to catch up. The next thing that we'll do is label our petals so that when we glue them together, the process will be easier. We'll know exactly how to glue them. So I'm going to use a pen so that you can better see what I'm writing, but feel free to use a pencil in case you need to erase it. I guess these petals will be glued together so you won't see any of your marks. So if you look at your petal, you'll notice on one corner that it is completely open. There are no folds, and that's right here. I'm going to go ahead and write an O in this top corner for open, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Across from that is another corner, and you'll notice that that side is entirely closed. All the folded edges intersect there. I'm going to put an X there on both sides. So it'll look something like this. There'll be an O here and an X here on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all my petals. And this is going to save us some time and energy when we're gluing them together. Awesome. So the next thing you want to do is think about the order that you would like your petals to be in. I guess this only matters if you have different color petals like I do. So I'm just going to set them up in the order that I would like, and then I'm going to start to glue them. This is a great time to get out those waste sheets you have. Wonderful. And so We use waste sheets to protect both our books and our tables. I am going to slide the waste sheet under the top sheet of the petal so that the back of the petal is protected. And then I'm going to come in with my glue stick. And I'm going to make sure that there's only a little bit of glue showing. And when I glue, I'm going to make sure that I'm gluing straight down. If your glue stick is at an angle, it'll make chunks of glue, or as I say, glue boogers appear easier, which we don't want. So I'm going to lightly and evenly apply this glue stick to the top side, one of the top sides, the end covers of my petal. And then I'm going to slide this waste sheet out and fold it in half to trap any glue I got on it. These are only useful if you fold them in half and conceal the glue. If you just left the glue on them, they could very well flip over and get glue all on your table, which we wouldn't want. I'm going to take my next petal and I'm going to stick them together. However, I am going to put the O on top of the X and the X on top of the O. That is how we get the bridge formation that we saw earlier. So you will not glue them with the corresponding letters. I make sure that my corners are lined up to the best of my ability. I'm going to put some pressure on this, and then I'm going to open up one of the petals and just bone fold a little bit, and that's going to secure one petal to the other, which would look something like this. I'm going to do the same thing and just add more petals to this. So just going to double check my pattern here. And I'll apply glue just to the top surface of the petal. Now get rid of this waste sheet entirely. No, I don't have a waste bin there. I'm just throwing it on the floor in case anyone was wondering. All right. And I feel like I have more control if I'm holding the petal that has the glue on it. And I make sure that my O lines up with my X and so on. And I'm going to position that petal. And then I'll open it up, make it even more secure with my bone folder. When you're using glue stick glue, it does take a little bit of time to dry. So always I give my books some resting time, some drying time before I start playing with them or reading them with some fervor. So treat them delicately, always, but especially in the beginning. Okay, I'm going to grab a new waste sheet and continue gluing these petals together. So we are making a petal fold book that's in a bridge formation, and that means it comes straight out. There is another way to make this book where instead of gluing the X's on top of the O's, you're gluing the O's together and the X's together, and that actually creates a star formation in this book. It's worth trying at some point. It works for a wonderful ornament and can provide you with a different look and style book. But for the sake of this class, I'm only teaching one. All right. This is looking great so far. I'm going to go ahead and glue my last petal on. Okay. Love doing that. All right, and I'm putting my O's on top of my X's, applying some weight, and then bone folding these together. The only thing I have left to do at this point is to glue on the covers. And I'm going to continue using waste sheets for this and do the same thing by just putting it under the top layer of paper. So your covers should be a little bit bigger than the size of your petals when they're folded. And the reason we do that is to protect the pages. This is the same with most of the books we make, and probably most of the hardcover books that you have. Covers cover the pages and protect them. So when I'm gluing my petals to the cover, I want to make sure to center the petals so that there's equal margin around them on the covers. Sometimes it's good to stand up and get a bird's eye view for this. I think I'm okay here. And then once again, I'll open it up and bone fold that down. Do the same to the other side. The reason that I'm not applying glue on the cover is because the cover is bigger and then there would be an excess amount of glue. And although it would just be a little bit, you'd be surprised what gets stuck together when you're using glue sticks making books. All right, I'm gonna lose that last waste sheet. And I'm going to hold on to all my petals in the other cover. I like to hold them with my fingers right in the center, like a little belt for the pages. And I'm going to make sure that the corners of my covers are lined up and are right on top of each other. You want the covers to be in the same position. Okay, I'm gonna open this up, unfold that, and voila! A Petal Fold book. Gosh, what a fun one to make. The next thing I'll do is show you a few examples. So the one I just made was plain, and I think I want to do some illustrations in here. For this example, I turned it into a journal of sorts, and on each petal, I turned it into a week. So this one says week 1, and this is my journal for the time that I've been staying at home, social distancing. So it has all the things I did that week. And I flip it over to the second petal, that's week 2, and so on. So this is one thing you could try out, and you could keep adding petals every week. You could wait to put the covers on until you're satisfied and have a lot of petals. This is another example I have. So this has a paper collage globe, earth on it, and it has all of the petals of the rainbow. This one is particularly beautiful. It doesn't have any content, but definitely could. Here's an example I made, and this one's pretty sweet. It's called Candy, and it has illustrations of different candy on it. And then I have one book that wasn't made at the Book Arts Center. This one is called Interaction Towards a Better World by Fernando Flores, and it's a flag book, it's a petal book. So this one was actually manufactured, but it has most of the flags of the world on it. And what I like about this one is that it has content on both the front and the backs of every petal. It is super fun and super long. Other things you could do when making your petal books is using decorative paper. That would certainly be real fun. You could also glue images to the center of your petals. If you took an image and folded it in the same folding style, you could just glue it in and it would fit perfectly, the folds with a line. And you could also make this book in any sort of size. A really small version would be really cute, but you could also see how big you could make it. And that goes for all of our books. I would love to see what you're making at home. In fact, my whole staff in the book arts community would be. So please, if you'd like to share, use the hashtag homebound edition. It's a play on words there for being homebound, and a bound edition, meaning a set of books that are similar and bound at the same time. So we would love to see your work. Also, please tune in next week. We're going to be making tunnel books. I have a little example here. This one says, "Where's that worm?" And this is a book I made. And there is actually a little tunnel in the book. So these will be super fun. And please share this video. I would love to engage more people. These videos are for everyone and they're free. If you do feel like you have the capacity to donate and support Minnesota Center for Book Arts, we would be super grateful. You can do that on our website through a gift card or a donation. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week.